Today we are going to discuss about attributes and actions. So let me go here. Here we have the demo process. In the demo process, attribute, actions, library functions, rules, get responsive layout. Rules also we saw in the last session. Attributes. We have so many attributes in commerce process, not like limited attributes in configuration. So if you want to create any new attribute, click on add. Here the label and variable name, these are common. As I told earlier in the configuration session, label is not label you can change at any point of time. Variable name is like a unique ID. Once saved, you cannot create another attribute with the same variable name. Okay. So attribute types, if you see, file attachment. File attachment meaning if you are trying to work with any kind of attachments, be it a CSV file, text file, Excel file, PDF, any kind of files, if you are trying to work with, you will have to use this attribute. Let's create each attribute after we go through this entire list and place it on the layout and see how it looks like. File attachment is that one, and boolean. Boolean is nothing but a yes or no kind of checkbox or a toggle switch. Currency is nothing but where you can enter the value in terms of USD or euro. It would consider itself as a currency. Date, which is like a date picker. Whoever has worked with HTML, they will get an idea where we create an HTML tag with input type as date, then they will get a calendar kind of UI. Similar thing will come when we pick up the date. Text and text area. Text means if you have any string or a sequence of alphanumeric characters, if it is less, if the length is less than 256, then you can use this text. If length is more than length is more than 256 characters, you will have to go for text area. So the text area will we usually use the text area for multi-purpose, like you can store the JSON formatted strings, JSON array formatted strings, large kind of data. So for so many things we use text area. Then coming to menu, menu is like similar to configuration menu. We have single select, you can select single option or multiple option. You can also connect the data table here. When you connect the data table and drive the menu options in commerce, we call the menu as a dynamic menu. In configuration we called it as SSPL, single cell pick list, but here it is like a dynamic menu. Integer, float. So integer is nothing but which accepts the field which accepts the whole numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Float is field where it accepts in terms of decimals. Read only text or HTML. Read only text or HTML is nothing but like where you can add HTML script in the UI and make, like you can, if you want to create any customized UI, you can use the read only text or HTML. History, basically in every code will record its own actions, what were happening. If you want to display that history on the screen, you will be using this history action, for which you will have to create some XSL kind of thing. Build to ship to address set, basically this address set is like a it is a combination of multiple attributes. If you pick up this attribute, then the system itself creates a list of system generated attributes, and it will pick up these build to ship to are basically we are going to work with a commerce process where the sales happen, orders get confirmed, deliveries happen. So where the item to be delivered, it is called a build to ship to location. Where the item bill should be generated to. It is called a bill to location. So ship to location will be having ship to location name, location city, state, zip code, all such things, even for bill to also. So all those things are quite common when we are working with the commerce. So system itself generates those attributes for us. We shall see. Additional address set is basically if you want to capture any other fields, you can if you pick up this attribute, that will be that is going to create a multiple attribute fields that will happen. Rich text is basically an attribute where you can add multiple templates, like you can create templates and add a tabular structure or attributes, or you can call this like our CPQ attributes. This rich text is a separate entity altogether. E-signature set we use when we integrate our CPQ platform with DocuSign. So if time permits, we shall check the integration tomorrow itself on how e-signature works. As part of e-signature, I'll also explain the document designer as well. Language. Language is an attribute which is used when we want to generate multiple language documents, like the when you create a document designer, you will have to create uh, you may have to create if the company is operating in different states, I mean different continents with different languages, then you will be using this attribute. Array set. So in configuration we created an array, like we have created the attributes and made them as array type, and then we have like associated with the array set. Here in commerce it is different. You will have to create an array set, and inside that array set you will have to create the attributes. So all such things we shall see one by one. File attachment. I'm adding demo lb.
On
Yeah.
we can compare with similar with the configuration array set.
Configuration array set, like you will create attributes outside the configuration, I mean outside the array set, and make
Okay.
it, and you will enable it, no, like the checkbox you will select whether it is array type yes or no.
Okay.
Then after, like you will create one array set by clicking, like if you remember on the UI we have list array sets button. If you
Yes.
click on that list array sets, you will enter a page where you have an option to create an array set. Inside that array set there will be two drop downs on the left side, on the right side. On the left side you will see unassociated attributes, on the right side you will see associated attributes. You can like uh, toggle them at any point of time. If you don't want this particular column to be displayed on the UI, or if you don't want that column at all from the array set, again you can unassociate it, or you can associate it, vice versa you can do. But here in commerce, you will create an array set first, and inside that array set, you can create attributes. Those attributes would not be visible outside the attribute set. We shall see.
Oh, okay, got it.
So demo file attachment. It is a standard practice that like everyone recommends to have for all the transaction attributes. We should be using underscore t. If it is underscore like if it is line level attribute, we should be using underscore l as a suffix. Demo file attachment we have created. Here the file attachment attribute is created now. You can see document views general. Okay, we have this standard component. It, since we have created it, it doesn't come under standard component, you can make it required. Description you can add it. Okay, allowed extensions, this exclude from xml, exclude from pdf merge are not required now. We shall discuss later. Allowed
What is
extensions.
the standard component means?
Standard component means if it is generated by the system, like if it
Okay.
is there at the time of process creation, then it will be like standard component as yes. Let me show you.
Okay.
created by underscore t, created date underscore c, everything. The moment we created the process, it has created itself. That's why it is showing yes, yes. Since we have created it, I mean from the users login we have created it, that is why the standard component is showing up no.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
You can also control the versions, what to be loaded. If you are like allowing all the kind of extensions, then you can attach any kind of file with these extensions. Okay. So the document views, basically uh, if you want to make it read and write or read only or hide it based on the steps, based in the profiles, okay, you can use the document views. Here, like whatever the steps you have, all those steps will be there, and the profiles that use that are those are created, those will appear here. And if the person is admin, and if you don't want the admin to make like do some action which is read and write, you can restrict here. Or if you want to make it read only, you can just select this option. If you want to hide it, you can do this. So document views we shall see it separately. Just for now we shall go with, for every attribute it's general and any other tabs. Okay, document views for now, just understand that you can hide a particular attribute or make it read only or make it read and write in a particular step to a particular user. That kind of thing, instead of using any rule, you can achieve it through the document views. That's it. Let me create update. Now let's create demo boolean. Now we can see here general tab. It is it always talks about the label, variable and standard component. Exclude from XML, I told I will explain later. True label, false label, how you want to show that like label, in the sense like whether it is a true or false, how you want to show. You have like you can use caps or lowercase or uppercase, anything. Here the trigger auto update. uh, if you remember, we were discussing on auto update before formulas and after formulas in the transaction. If you want to run any before formulas or after formulas, you can use this trigger auto update. This is a separate separate functionality that CPQ offers for certain attributes. We shall say it separately, but trigger auto update is like, it is usually when someone clicks on this attribute or someone makes some change on this attribute. If you want certain logic to run, then you will be using this trigger auto update. Jet layout path is nothing but our where we assign it. Okay. Validation, if you want any validation, none, must be true, must be false. Like if you set the validation as none, it doesn't work. If you set the validation to true or false, then it always raises a constraint without a rule that it always must be true, make it true. Okay, the moment you enter the code. Now default means how, what is the value that you want to see at the time of code creation. The moment code is created, if you want to if you want a specific value on the on the UI for this particular attribute, you can make it as true or false. Okay, here also you can use the data, or if you want to get that value based on some condition, you can go for this function, where in the define function you will have system variable name for transaction line. So you can take up certain attributes or certain VML functions or certain system variable names and make it, and return whether you want to pass the true or false. Formula gets activated when you call this attribute, and if you add this attribute inside the formula and return something, then this formula section gets enabled. That is also a separate thing we shall see. General, default, modify. Modify basically all these things you are seeing here, an action. If some action is performed, what is going to be done for this attribute? If you want some value to be inserted inside this attribute, like demo boolean, suppose this is a boolean, the value is either true or false. If you want to uh, like define some function on clicking this action, like when you click this action something should run and make this true or false, you can make it here. If there is any formula you can use it, or if you want to just have a specified value like static hard coded value, you will be using here in the use specified value. Leave value unchanged means if you uh, like don't want to make any change to happen, then you can make it here. This is like rarely we use. Revert to default. Revert to default means in the default function you have like you have marked it as true, but somehow during some with some logic some other action it is made to false. Okay, and again after clicking on accept code, if you like select this revert to default, what happens, it will again come back to true. That is what revert to default. Whether that revert to default can be a data, can be a function, can be anything else. When it is marked as revert to default, the default value uh, gets assigned to this attribute. Again, save from form is like whatever is there it will come. Document views, similar to what I have explained on file attachment, the document views are common. Mapping, this we will explain using the configuration, like when we call the transaction via BMQLN configuration. I will explain this mapping. Now let's go for other attribute. Now coming to the third attribute called currency. So here also you can see currency required, decimal places, like if it is an Australian dollar. See, USD is coming because I'm opening a tab. Host company I have come. Base currency that you are using will always be USD. So that is why it is like every time you come, it will be on a USD. So let me go here. Since this is a base currency, it will always be. And if you want to use multiple currencies also, what you're supposed to do is you will have to enable all of them together. See here, SAR RUB has been enabled. That is we are seeing SAR RUB. Okay, if you want to like view other currencies also, you will have to enable it here in the host company. Please remember that. Okay, now let me make it like Australian dollar as my currency preference and see. Okay. Though the host company is like though the user preference is changed, unless and until the base currency of the instance is not changed, we can't change anything on the dollar. I mean USD. Let me delete this and go back to the other thing. So here you can see whatever the currencies selected on the host company, and now you can have some validations at the attribute level itself, like check currency in range, check currency for minimum. Like if you want certain value to be entered by the user, and if it is less than that minimum thing, then then the validation can be triggered. So all these things are like the validations without any kind of rules. So the default works here as well. Like if it is none, there is no default entry. If it is data, you can just hard code. The moment code gets created, it gets populated with certain value. Let me put some $9. I'm putting it. Modify it is similar to what we discussed, like on particular action. If you want certain value to be assigned to this attribute, you will be using this. Document views are similar. Mapping also, mapping we shall discuss on uh, what we are doing for when we configure and use the BMQ. This is with respect to currency. So here the date field, again you can make it required, and the validation you can like check for future date, check for date in range. You can do it here. In here, if you see, for in the default section, there is one system variable called current date. We can assign the moment system like code, a new code is created, or you can define some static data, or you can also use function. So I'm just giving system variable name. Modify is common for all the attributes. Document views, it is common. Let me click on update and new. We shall go for next attribute. So you create any text attribute. So for text attribute, you will be having only maximum field length is 255. That means from 0 to 255 characters. And similar to other attributes, you will also have a like default tab where you can have like leave it empty at the time of code creation, or you can add some value in the system variable, or you can give some data, or you can just give a function. So here for date we have used as current date, and then for currency we have used some static data. So let's use some function here. Modifying document views, even for text also it is same. So here, since that this is a text area, you can add it in the default here function system variable name. The modifying document views and mapping are common. Okay. 1 second. Let's go to other attribute menu. Here static menu, dynamic menu. Dynamic menu means which is like which we can link it with the data table. Here menu type, you can make it as single select menu or multi select menu. Trigger auto update is and constraint menu option of behavior. If you are using any constraint rule, how you want the menu to be displayed, whether it can be like whether you want to show the option as disabled, or whether you want to remove that option completely. When the constraint rule works, you can use it. And array control attribute. So if you remember, in configuration we used one control attribute which is nothing but an integer. Similar to this, if you want any array control attribute by menu or integer, you can have it here also in the commerce process. We shall see it separately. Okay. Now default here, if you want some default thing to be displayed on this default value to be displayed on that menu when the code is created for the first time, I mean when the code is created and you landed into the code phase, first time what it show it want it you want to show it on the UI, you can display here in the default. Modify document views and mapping are common. I'm just putting select single select menu for now. Here we have created an integer attribute. So the integer attribute also you can add the validations, the attribute level validations. whether it is a numeric or not, whether it is positive, or if you want to validate based on certain limits like a minimum number and a maximum number, all such things you can run through here. The default tab remains same. You can have no entry, or you can have system variable name, data, or function. Modified document views mapping are common. Float attribute. So float is nothing but any number which is having decimals. We call it as a float here. So for this also you have a trigger auto update, and here also you have validations. And there is one more thing. If you are using any kind of like if you want to use this field for any kind of conversion, suppose if you want to convert from like inches to foot, or foot to inches, like that, you can have the conversion fields. You can check it later. The default, modify, document views, mapping, all these four attributes are common like any other attribute, where you can have some default value, or if you want to modify it through any action, then you can call this modify tab. Okay. Let's go to another attribute. So here you will have label, variable name. Okay, these fields are common. In the default you can see you can add any system variable or data or any function. Here the function, you can just create any customized HTML tag script. Transaction analysis, okay, it is like if you want to show something, some kind of chart representation, you will be using transaction analysis. BOM hierarchy display, like if you want to visualize in a bomb kind of structure, then you will be using, usually we don't deploy this also, visualization, bar gauge. So you can have an attribute, and you can, like if you can give some color to this, to which you can create your own chart with the like respective I mean respective attribute. If you want to show it on the bar gauge with the value, with some color, you can use this visualization. Okay. For now I'm just putting it here, and you can also go here. I'm just inserting some table. So here you can see, though I have given it there, it is like just converting into an HTML version. So this history attribute is basically to track the changes which a user is performing on the code. So this history is different thing. The document views and mapping, and the common like any other attribute. We shall see this history in a separate session. Build to, ship to, address set, additional address set, rich text, e-signature set. These four I will just show in any of the other like already there might be some attributes which are created with these attribute types. I will show that. Language I'm just creating. So whatever are the currencies accepted on this, you will see every language here. Okay. So here you can just the default modifier our document views are common. Similar, this menu is like a static menu. Okay, and trigger auto update is available for this, and you can also like control the menu option behavior when the constraint tool works on this. Um, Here, like you can see exchange rates, API metrics, view login history, like unit conversions. Similar, like whatever the exchange rates, if you want to add and from one USD to other thing, you'll have to enable that currency on the host company here. We saw these right where it was showing up whatever we have enabled here, those only coming on currency attribute options. So currency conversion rate also will come only when you select these currencies which are enabled. When you enable these currencies, then only you can add a editor row. Okay, why I am telling coming out from attributes, because what are the companies, what are the like languages that you are showing up here on the language attribute, those are in line with the host company enabled currencies, host company enabled languages. That is why I was showing up this. Now coming to last attribute type, which is array set. You can see here also there is an attribute called size attribute. Okay, the size attribute you can associate. Before that you will have to create an integer attribute with and make it as array size attribute as s. Then you will be able to see what is the size attributes, what are the size attributes available to associate with this array set. Okay, here now you will be able to create the new attribute here itself. Usually, it's the best practice to add the array set name as a prefix to the every attribute that we are creating inside inside an array. I'm just adding a integer. Now let's place all the things on the layout and see. Process definition, demo process, documents. Here you will see jet responsive layout. Here, once you land into the transaction jet layout, you will be able to see a document which like a document kind of structure. In configuration, we call this as a configuration flow, where we create at where we put up all the attributes on an UI. Similar way, here also we have a layout which is called a jet transaction layout. Transaction details, customer info, like all these are like standard already. So line item grid is a separate document which we call it as a transaction line or document sub document or the document which starts with document number as 2. Okay, this line item grid is separate. Now let's go to this tab, click on settings. You can change the name. Let's put all the attributes. Just you can drag and drop. If you want to just like beautify this further, what you have to identify is, like, if you click here on the attribute, you can see one blue border is enabled. Inside the blue border, you can see one line, invisible line kind of rectangular block is coming. That is like it indicates that the attribute is inside a block. Okay, so here these two attributes are now inside one block. If you just want if you just want to place both the attributes in a on a row, you will have to decrease the column width, and you can give your own CSS class if you want to drive if you want to highlight this something, highlight with your own thing. Okay, then you can also align the label, whether it can be at the left, top, right. If you don't want the label, you can collapse it. Okay, all these things you can just try it out. Let me add all the other attributes. Demo date. So we are done with insertion of all the attributes that we have created. Now, before moving, I skipped a couple of attributes, right, which are like additional address set and bill to ship to address set, e-signature set. So if you create any attribute with additional address set, it is like this. It will create its own system attributes inside like all these attributes all will be clubbed together, and it is formed under additional address set. Okay, even additional address test, and also the rich text. We have seen this. So if you go into a rich text, okay, you can create multiple templates inside the rich text editor and associate with this attribute. You can create your own template, and you can call the template in the rich text, and also the e-signature set, which we use when we integrate CPQ with DocuSign. These are all like when you create an attribute with type e-signature set or addition address test or ship to bill to type, certain attributes would be created by default by the system. Just for now, understand that way. Now let me, since we have deployed this, no, like we are able to deploy this, we have made the changes. Let me go to this. Now demo process manager, I am going here. Since I have not created any codes, it is not showing up. Okay, let me create code. The currency I have changed at Australian dollar now. That is it showing up currency as Australian dollar for my login. Now let's go to demo. This is an array set attribute. This is a Boolean attribute. This is a currency. Choose file, demo menu, and demo date. Since we have given current date, means it's this operates in different time zone. So that time zone's current date was 27. Demo history, okay. Demo integer, like the attributes, demo text, we have given text account, like current system, where system login name we have uh, called in the default. That is why it is showing up test account. Demo menu, we made it as test default. Demo currency, we have given this. Demo date, we have given system date. And demo HTML, we have created one table. So the moment code is created, whatever you have defined in the default, those are coming like this. So I think for this also we'll have to add some CSS changes. We shall do that.
Mohan, I have one doubt now here.
Yeah.
So when you create the perform the create code action, it's showing the demo process layout, right?
Hmm.
So are you created any default to go this process only like that?
Meaning,
Because in the process definition we have multiple processes, right? So when you perform the create order action, it's
Acha, okay,
directly
okay.
going to.
So see here in the text account, under the text account, you have these many manager and reporting manager tabs. Okay, the moment
Okay.
you create any process and deploy it, system creates its own manager and reporting manager. So I have gone to demo process manager, where it is showing an action which is process action. Like if you remember, we were discussing that create new transaction process
Yeah.
action. So
Yeah.
this create is not like a process transaction for this process.
Okay.
This
Okay.
layout comes default when we create any process with certain attributes auto populated already.
Okay, I got it. So the those option it shows only the super user. Huh?
No, 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 for everyone, not only for
Okay.
super user.
So in case if we have the multiple processes, then only it shows in the drop down, right? In the menu drop down.
Even
Yeah.
if you don't have multiple processes, even for one process also, it will show like this. Okay,
Okay.
but usually what we do is we will create, if you remember, on home page, we have seen this on home page. If you want to customize the home page, where is this? No, not this one, sorry. Navigation menus. On the navigation menus, you can, if you go to commerce or admin, anything, list links, you have user defined. Okay, so if you want to put something on the menu, like here on the header, you can
Okay.
pick up this link. Demo process. You can take up this link and show it here. So instead of like going to the user and selecting it, top navigation, you can create. If you create your top navigation, all the fields will show on this header itself.
Okay, got it.
Just take the URL and then just experiment with it by changing it.
Okay.
So this is what we have learned today about commerce attributes. Like we have just seen what are the different attributes available and how to create them. What are the different tabs available under each attribute. How we can like place it on the layout is what we have seen. So in tomorrow's session, we shall complete the actions, and going forward we shall see the real-time examples. I mean some examples. We shall see how action can be performed, what is the purpose of trigger auto update, how we can load and erase it. All such things we shall discuss in the upcoming sessions. Okay.